Hello and welcome to the One Life Church devotional series where we cover the entire Bible in 20 months. Today's chapters are Joshua 22 and 23. Now I brought you on my morning run with my dogs down the valley behind our home, running through this bush trail for a very particular reason. I'll tell you about that in a moment. Now Joshua 22 is about the Reubenites, the Gadites, and the half-tribe of Manasseh. Remember those wealthy tribes who had asked Moses, can we stay the other side of the Jordan, please? They'd struck this deal. Yes, you can stay there as long as you help the rest of the tribes get their inheritance, which had now happened. So Israel sends them all back. Before they cross the Jordan, though, they build this massive altar. And it became a massive stumbling block for the rest of Israel. And when Israel heard that they had built an altar on the border of Canaan, the whole assembly of Israel gathered at Shiloh to go to war. They were about to go and obliterate their brothers. Why? A huge misunderstanding. Well, the rest of Israel thought they'd gone rogue, thought that they'd stopped worshipping God properly. But meanwhile, these guys, the Reubenites, the Gadites, the half-tribe of Manasseh, had said, listen, we're going to be the other side of the Jordan. It's like out of sight, out of mind. How our kids aren't going to know we're connected. Let's build an altar as remembrance, as a witness. So this delegation comes down and they hear each other. And as they hear each other, the problem is resolved. It's a great example of listening, not letting rumors, not letting, hearsay, not letting what other people say taint a relationship. Listen to each other. Great example. But it's Joshua 23 I want to focus on this morning. Joshua, by then, verse 1 says, is an old man. And he summoned the whole of Israel together, their elders, their leaders, their judges, their officials. And he says, listen, I've got some things to say to you. God has fought for you, hasn't he? Stick with him. Be strong and courageous because, you're living amongst a community that's affecting you. They serve other gods. He's going to drive them out eventually. He says, don't bow down to their gods. Don't bow down to their gods. And whatever you do, don't intermarry. Don't bring that idol worship into your homes, into your bedrooms, into your lounges. Because if you do, this is what's going to happen. They're going to become like a whip to your back and thorns in your eyes. In other words, if you take on the idols of the world, the values of the world, and just think about the values that have just seeped into the church, values of normalizing abortion and normalizing, all sorts of drunken revelry. Just think about that. What we allow ourselves to watch on TV, just the values that keep coming over us, they become like a slave. You become like a slave to them. They become like a whip to your back. You will now labor under your own efforts to try and rectify yourself. Don't do that. And they will blind you. Thorns in your eyes. Now, the reason I brought you here is that a couple of years ago, I was doing the doozy, running in this very outfit, actually, with a friend. And as we were running through bush like this, a thorn bush, pretty much like this one, came in and stuck into my eye. The thorn went right into the middle of my eye. Immediately, it went snow white. Couldn't see. The doctors explained to me afterwards that your eye just contracts, so it distorts the vision. So I had to finish the rest of that day. Couldn't see out of my one eye. Terrible, as I was trying to steer this boat. I couldn't imagine what happened if both eyes had been hit. That evening, had to go to an eye surgeon. He put an eye drop in my eye, and almost immediately, my eye opened up. It was like it relaxed, which got me to think about a verse that interprets this one. In Revelation chapter 3, it says this, the angel to the church at Laodicea write these words, I know your deeds. You're neither hot or cold. I wish you were either one or the other. So because you're lukewarm, neither hot or cold, I have to spit you out of your mouth. How have they become lukewarm? They've embraced the values of the world. They've embraced the systems of the world. You say, I'm rich. Just like these Gadites, Reubenites, etc. You're rich. You're doing it the way the world does it. I have no need of anything. But you don't realize that you're wretched, pitiful, blind, and poor. I counsel you. Come to me, he says, buy gold refined in fire. What's he talking about? Faith, eternal things. And who is talking? Jesus is. He says, come to me. I'll give you things eternal. White clothes to wear. So in other words, you don't labor. You haven't got an open back that's been flayed by the world. You've got my righteousness. But this is what he says. And to put salve in your eyes so you can see. The word of Jesus is, you can go to the world for counsel. Go to the world to solve your conflict resolution. You can go to the world to get your perspective and your business advice. Or you can come to me, Jesus says. You come to me, I'll put salve in your eyes, and whew, just like that ointment sorted me on the doozy, so the Word of God, the light of God, the ways of God light up your path. That's the word of Jesus to us today. Come to Him. Come to Him for wisdom, Him for perspective, Him for your values. Hold to Him.